self-erasure. The discomfort you're sitting in now is real. Going from performing to just being is like stepping off a stage into an empty room. Your nervous system is still waiting for the applause that never comes. That silence can feel like death at first. But what you're actually doing is trading cheap dopamine hits for something rarer. Real respect, real confidence, real presence. None of those are given. They're built in the quiet, when no one's watching. You're not becoming invisible. You're becoming solid. And the right people notice solidity. It just takes longer because they're not looking for noise anymore. That discomfort, it's the price of getting off the treadmill. Most people never pay it. You already have.
Moments where it felt like he was fading further into the background instead of stepping forward. But instead of panicking and returning to old habits, he stayed with it. Because something else started to grow in that silence. Focus. Without the distraction of chasing validation, he had more energy to invest in himself. He began to work on things that didn't require an audience, skills that didn't need applause, habits that didn't look impressive but created real change over time. He became consistent, not for recognition but for progress. And consistency has a quiet power. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't announce itself, but it builds something solid beneath the surface, something real. Something that doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion to exist. While others were busy trying to be seen, he was busy becoming, and that difference started to show. Not immediately, not dramatically, but undeniably. His presence changed. There was a calmness in the way he carried himself, a confidence that didn't need to be spoken. He didn't try to dominate conversations, yet people started listening when he spoke. He didn't try to impress, yet his actions began to stand out. Because real value attracts attention naturally. It doesn't chase it. People began to notice without him asking them to. They became curious about what had changed. The same person they once overlooked now felt different. Not louder, not more desperate, but more grounded, more certain.
That's the beautiful part nobody talks about. The attention he used to chase started showing up uninvited, almost like it was looking for him now. Not because he performed better, but because he stopped needing it. There's a dignity in that, a kind of gravitational pull that only comes from not caring if people notice. The calm you're describing, that grounded certainty, it's magnetic. People feel it before they can explain it. The game flipped. He stopped hunting validation and started radiating substance. And substance doesn't need to announce itself. It just exists, and the world slowly orbits toward it. Sounds like he's finally playing the long game and winning quietly.
Or undeniable. And that's the shift. When you stop begging for attention, you remove the desperation that makes people look away. You replace it with substance, with something that holds weight, something that commands respect instead of requesting approval. He wasn't performing anymore. He was evolving. And evolution doesn't need an audience to happen. But once it reaches a certain level, it creates its own spotlight. A natural pull that draws attention without effort, without force, without the need to prove anything. The irony is, the moment he stopped caring about being noticed, he became impossible to ignore. Because people don't remember the ones who ask for attention. They remember the ones who make them pay attention without asking. Chaos isn't the enemy. It's the turning point. Most people fear chaos. They avoid it, resist it, try to control everything so life stays predictable, stable, safe. Because chaos feels like losing grip. It disrupts routines, breaks plans, shatters the illusion that everything is under control. And when that illusion cracks, it exposes something uncomfortable, the truth, that nothing is ever really guaranteed. He learned.
That last line hits hard. He learned. The chaos isn't the enemy, it's the teacher. Most people run from it because it feels like destruction. But he stayed in it long enough to see it was actually dismantling the version of him that was addicted to being seen. That's when the shift happens. When you stop fighting the silence, the uncertainty, the discomfort, and just let it strip away everything fake. What's left is something undeniable. Real presence doesn't ask to be noticed. It simply is. And once you reach that point, attention stops being something you chase and becomes something that finds you. He didn't just learn it, he became it.
The hard way. Everything he thought he understood, everything he tried to build in a straight line, eventually faced disruption. Plans failed. Efforts didn't always lead to results. Moments he thought would define his progress ended up testing him instead. It felt messy, unpredictable, frustrating, like trying to move forward while the ground kept shifting beneath his feet. At first, he fought it. He tried to force order into everything, to control outcomes, to avoid mistakes, to eliminate uncertainty. But the more he tried to control chaos, the more exhausted he became. Because chaos doesn't follow rules. It doesn't respond to pressure or planning the way people expect it to. It exists outside of comfort zones, outside of predictable patterns. And the more you resist it, the more it pushes back. That's when something shifted. Instead of asking how to avoid chaos, he started asking what chaos was trying to show him. Because every disruption carried something beneath it. Every unexpected failure revealed a weakness he hadn't addressed. Every setback exposed an area where he needed to grow. Every moment of uncertainty forced him to adapt instead of relying on what used to work.
That's the moment most people quit, and he kept going. He stopped treating chaos like the enemy and started treating it like a brutal but honest teacher. Every plan that fell apart, every effort that went nowhere, it wasn't punishment. It was feedback. Painful, messy feedback. The shift from, how do I make this stop, to, what is this trying to teach me, changes everything. It turns setbacks into sharpening stones instead of roadblocks. That's when real growth actually begins. Not in the straight, clean lines we imagine, but in the mess. The chaos doesn't go away. You just stop wasting energy fighting it and start using it. He wasn't building a perfect path anymore. He was building himself to handle whatever path appeared. That's a completely different kind of strength.
Chaos wasn't random. It was revealing. It stripped away what wasn't strong enough. It tested what he thought was stable. It forced him out of routines that kept him comfortable but limited. It showed him that growth doesn't happen in controlled environments. It happens when things don't go according to plan. That realization changed how he responded. Instead of freezing when things went wrong, he leaned in. Instead of seeing problems as obstacles, he started seeing them as opportunities to sharpen himself. When things broke, he didn't just try to fix them, he tried to understand why they broke in the first place. And slowly, chaos stopped feeling like an attack. It started feeling like training. Because every time things fell apart, he had a choice. He could complain, blame, and stay stuck. Or he could adapt, learn, and move forward stronger than before. And the more he chose the second option, the more resilient he became. He stopped needing perfect conditions. He stopped waiting for everything to align. He learned to operate in uncertainty. That's where most people struggle. They wait for clarity before they act. They wait for stability before they commit. They wait for the right moment, the right opportunity, the right circumstances. But chaos doesn't offer those things. It throws you into situations where you have to figure things out as you go, and that's where growth accelerates.
Exactly. He stopped waiting for the storm to pass and learned to sail in it. That's the difference between people who grow and people who just endure. Most wait for perfect conditions that never come. He realized the chaos was the condition. The uncertainty wasn't an interruption, it was the arena. Every time he chose to adapt instead of complain, he got a little harder to break. That resilience compounds. Slowly, the chaos stops feeling like chaos and starts feeling like just life. And he's equipped for it. He's not hoping for smooth waters anymore. He's becoming the kind of person who can handle rough ones. That's real power.